the ashes, the spirits light up the night, looking down.
Now, from the Untold Radio Network, it's Untold Radio AM with Doug and Alex Hajicek.
Anyhow,
Hey.
you got a buzz cut.
Yeah, I got them all cut.
Did you? I would imagine you got your hair cut because we're going to the conference.
Yeah, I got to look sharp.
Yeah, you look good.
Thank you.
Anyhow, hello everybody.
Hello.
Hello, our live audience. Got a lot of people in there already. So we've got a pretty packed show tonight. Like literally, and today is what, Wednesday, the 29th of May?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, it's almost over. God, my favorite month is almost gone. So, Eric, Play Shows is with us tonight. He's going to play a new 911 call that he got on a FOIA request. And we've got David Ellis to do tech breakdown tonight on some really cool Bigfoot voice math. And I hope we'll get everybody's light bulbs to go off, including maybe a scientist or two who's listening. And then we've got our main guest, Rob, Michigan Bigfoot Rob.
Yeah.
Or is it Rob Bigfoot Michigan?
He's the Michigan Bigfoot guy.
Yeah, I know. And you actually revealed his true last name.
Yeah.
In your description. Did he give you permission to do that?
Well, it's on his book.
Oh, he's on his book. That's right. He's got a book out. I hope you have everything you need to show everybody.
Yeah.
And by the way, he also had a really cool encounter. And Sibylla, I believe, did hit the sketches. And I sent them to you in Messenger
I did.
seconds ago, just so you have them there.
Yeah.
Because we're going to definitely want to show
they're
those.
Cool. They're super cool.
He relays his sighting. Okay, what else we've got? I think that's kind of it. I mean, for the open, but we've got a little bit of news, not much. There really wasn't much interesting to me. And I'd be damned if I'm going to talk about news that I'm not interested in.
Right. What's the point?
Yeah, exactly. What is the point? You know, it's untold, then I'm going to want to talk about it. If it's something really cool, like neat, that gets me going, then I'm going to want to share it. And we're going to start off with something really cool. And I'm sure some people have heard about this. You know, we can't always scoop everything. But they're up photo 1. This was in the news. This is the carcass, very old carcass, probably 40,000 years minimum, carcass of an extinct cave bear. Now, cave bears were quite big. Throw up photo 2. If you have photo 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. Once. Okay. So picture a grizzly, but picture something much bigger than a grizzly, but still just as pleasant as a grizzly. They also ate vegetation and, you know, they were very pleasant unless you tried to bother them or hurt their cubs or whatever. I'm sure they become quite unpleasant, and they lived during the Pleistocene era. So this carcass was estimated to be 39,500 years old, found by reindeer herders. But you know what this means and why I get excited?
What?
It means we could bring this bad boy back again.
Yes, we could.
That's why I get excited.
That would be awesome.
Because it probably, you know, is a good chance it was hunted to extinction. Right?
Right.
It didn't die of like natural, you know, like climate, whatever reasons. So apparently this thing had its teeth intact. It says this incredible discovery allows scientists to study for the first time the animal's anatomy, behavior, the diet. Because think about it, the food's going to still be in its gut.
Yeah, it's
Gives a
gotta
lot of
be.
insights into the prehistoric world, I would think. Well, here's how big they were. Put up photo 3. They just don't show you a carcass of a dead bear like the article I saw. I went and did research. And I already knew quite a bit about it because this bear is one of the reasons our modern black bears are so timid. This is one of the reasons. So you see that person there?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, that's the size of these things. They were massive. There's many animals were in the Pleistocene era. That would have been my favorite era to just like wake up in. Just to live among all these giant animals, giant sloths, giant elephants, giant this, giant that. Everything was giant. Beavers were giant, Alex.
That sounds like it'd be a short trip.
Beavers were taller than a tree. Picture it.
Geez, that's massive.
Yeah, it is. So what I'm hoping they save a chunk for DNA work and cloning and so on.
Could we really handle giant beavers today?
Could we? Hell yeah, I'd put one in my throw one in my pond. But I really do hope that they, could bring back this thing, even if it's just a couple of them, even if they're in a huge enclosure and it'd have to be huge.
Massive.
But where they couldn't escape. I think it'd be cool as never mind. 1,320 pounds. These things got up to. Females were a lot smaller, a lot of sexual dimorphism. The males were huge. And these things lived in Europe and Asia and, North America. And they apparently became extinct only 24,000 years ago. Just a snap of the fingers.
Jeez.
Right? They died out during the last glacial maximum, when the glaciers were at their peak. When I imagine a lot of animals that those glaciers did them in. Talk about global warming, man. That was like some global cooling. And I know for a fact, right where you're sitting and right where I'm sitting, there were mile-high glaciers right where we're sitting, literally.
That high.
I have another photo 4. It might give a better comparative of
The
humans.
size.
Yeah, to size. So it says, as fearsome as these things were, up to 10 feet long, the cave bear, also I think known as the short-faced bear, subsided mostly on plants, seeds, and tubers.
Would
See,
not
just
want to run
harmless.
into that thing.
Yep. And these things lived along cave lions. Throw up photo 5. At one point, think about this. We had these things, and they look to me like African lions. We had basically African lions in the U.S. and Canada throughout. So these are the things that hunted the cave bears. What do you think?
Scary stuff, man.
Yeah, these things ate cave bears. And they're cave lions, Anthera atrox, better known as the American cave lion. And they became extinct about the same time. Oh, no, they actually only went extinct 12,800 years ago. That wasn't long ago, man.
No, it wasn't.
No, anyhow. All right. That's all I had in the whole news. That's it. So I thought we could bring Eric on. What time is it? Yeah, perfect. Right on time. Thought we could bring Eric on to tell us about his FOIA work. And he is making, I think, progress. And he's got a 911 call that he got through a FOIA request that he's going to play. As disturbing as this call is, we're going to play it. Go ahead, Alex, and bring Eric on.
Hey, Eric.
Hey, guys.
How are you?
Doing well. Thanks for having me back on.
Yeah. You've been on a few times, and we hope to get you back on when you get some more FOIA stuff to share with our audience. Yeah. So go ahead and tell us about, we don't need to know all the details on times and blah, 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 but I like to hear. I mean, this call was gotten from a FOIA request from where?
This was a FOIA request from the Harrison County Sheriff's Department. Harrison County is East Texas. I know there's a lot of reported sightings of Sasquatch, Bigfoot type creatures taking place in that area.
Yeah.
I heard about this call. I wasn't really sure it was real or not. Someone had said something in a Facebook group about about this event. I wasn't really sure, so I went ahead and did a little bit of research, and I actually found an incident number for this call. So we do know what happened, and it is documented through the sheriff's office as a Bigfoot phone call. So that's a fact.
That's cool. But this call is disturbing, and we probably won't spoil it as to why, but I was disturbed by it.
Yeah, it was a little disturbing once you hear the whole call, and it kind of brought up some other things of why other people don't, come forward as much, I guess.
And this is another reason, in a lot of ways, why you have to FOIA this stuff.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and I don't know who's got the call. Oh, it looks like it's ready. Is there anything else you want to talk about on some other FOIA documents that you've uncovered in the last whatever?
Oh, my
by the way,
goodness.
I do want to mention he has a website that you need to become a member on, and you can view a ton of neat stuff.
Yeah.
And
if you guys want to check
videos.
out my channel and stuff,
Yep.
I have the documentation. If you guys want to download some of this documentation, take a look at it for yourself. I've done stuff recently. I got some information. I wasn't sure I was going to get some stuff back, but I got some documents back on the Beast of Bray Road, which I wasn't really sure if that was a real thing, but surprisingly enough, I got, about 6 pages. And I think I showed some of that to you, Doug. You can clearly see it says, werewolf in there. And that incident's actually pretty interesting of what happened. But I've done that. I've got FOIA requests from the LBL. I know the LBL is kind of a hot spot, land between the lakes. Again, I wasn't really sure about the legends there, but I did uncover some really interesting information. And we might be able to talk about that on another stream. But
I was going to ask you, do you recommend, Eric, people actually call the police if they have a Bigfoot sighting? Why not? And report it.
I don't see an issue with that. Honestly, I think we need to document everything. People that are going to the woods as well, you need to have a field journal that you're documenting stuff in. Everything needs to be documented. So I'm not trying to toot my own horn here, but with this 911 call, you're going to see that I have the call sheet, the email that I got from the sheriff's department telling me that this call was actually transferred from, this is interesting, the call was transferred from the Harrison County Sheriff's Department to the Texas Parks and Wildlife. So that kind of makes you wonder, do they handle all the Bigfoot calls in Texas? To me, that's kind of interesting.
I did hear one thing that, we got to make sense that sometimes if a call comes into the sheriff's office, they'll slough it off to some private investigative group so it doesn't end up in the FOIA record. Or they'll slough it off to a search and rescue group. So
I was just about to say, I've heard of search and rescue groups being contracted in for things like this. And I do have another FOIA request that I received from a Colorado incident that I don't really like to throw the word, cover up or anything around, but this document it's insane. The top of the FOIA document says not approved by a supervisor. That's what it says at the top.
Yeah.
So
let's go ahead. Without further ado, let's go ahead and play the call.
Please.
Harrison County.
Yes, ma'am. How are you doing this evening?
Pretty good. How about yourself?
Excellent, excellent. This is a non-emergency call. I have game cameras on my property, and we spotted something, and I hate to even say anything about it. Spotted something that might look like Bigfoot on the game camera. And I was wanting to talk to one of the deputies, or you might know if somebody reported anything like that in the Samuel Murphy area, which is towards the Carnafel area. We're on the Lovely Road.
So for that, that would come from, that would get reported to the game wardens. Let me get you in touch with one of them. 1 second.
Thank you.
Actually, openly say that.
Hello?
Hey, this is Harrison County. I have a gentleman on the other line that would like to report something that's found on his game camera to you. Would you be able to take that call?
he found on his game camera?
Yes, sir.
I'm not liking how this is sounding at all. But yeah, I'll talk to him.
Okay, one moment. There was that dude. Okay. Put it in the back of the road. 1042.
Laughter's disturbing.
Hello?
Hi, is this...
Yes, ma'am, it is.
Okay, this is the Harrison County Sheriff's Office. I forgot to grab some details to put in the call notes. He did ask me to go ahead and put it in on our side as well since I transferred him. What was your last name? And what's your first name? And you said it was your game cameras are in the area of where again?
It's well, Lovely Road is. It's in the
Off of Lovely Road? Okay.
It's on the Lovely Road, yeah.
And Lovely Road comes back as a Marshall address, right?
Right.
Okay. Okay. Okay, let me make sure. I think that's all. Okay, yes, that's all I needed, Mr. Thank you very much.
You're more than welcome.
Bye-bye.
There's more, isn't there?
That was it. That was the call. That was the entire
okay.
call. Yeah.
But wasn't there a part where he talks to the game warden?
Yeah, we heard that. It was in there. Yeah, I believe you played that, Alex. Yeah. Yeah, it was. So that's a series of 3 calls. It's the original caller calling into the Harrison County Sheriff's Office. The woman transferred that to the Texas Parks and Wildlife Ranger, and then they called back the original caller about the incident. But it is disturbing that they were laughing because I received these documents unredacted. I myself redacted them. I wasn't doxing the guy, but I spoke to the witness, and he was very concerned. It wasn't a joke for him. He's been in the area pretty much his entire life. He called because he wasn't sure what this thing was, and he didn't want it on his property, pretty much.
Is he willing to show you the game camera photos?
So I have the photo. The photo is actually on my channel there. If you want to check it out, it is on there, and it's an interesting photo. It is interesting. Okay. I'm having it analyzed now. It's been a little while, but hopefully I'll get that back, and I'm looking to make a video on the analysis here pretty soon.
Well, you could always send me a copy too. I won't share it.
I thought I sent it to you. No. If you want to share it now, Alex, you can share it. I don't care. Whatever. It should be on my channel or whatever.
Oh.
Yeah, it should be. It's on one of the videos of my channel, I believe. So it should still be on there. That's it. Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting photo. It's really ambiguous like most pictures, but he was concerned enough to call, and that was interesting to me.
You said it's on your channel. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it should be one of the ones. It should have like the actual thumbnail of one of the videos should have it on there. It's like you should see it. Yeah, it should be somewhere on there. The first one.
Is it the Bigfoot game camera photo?
That should be the one. Yeah. Mm-hmm. If you want to script through it or whatever, it should be on there. Yeah.
If you can't, Alex, we'd understand. We can always show it a little bit later, but
now I can kind of see why more calls don't get reported.
Yeah.
And it's kind of sad. Who knows how many we've missed out on? Probably a bunch. So that's it right there. That's the game cam photo. Yeah.
Oh, I see. Yeah, back there. Mm-hmm. Can you blow? Is there any way you can blow that up, Alex? Maybe not. It's interesting.
Yeah, and the guy's been in the area for a while. He thought it was interesting.
I have not seen this photo.
Right. Yeah.
So if you actually have a really
and this photo was received from the Texas Parks and Wildlife. I did not get this from the witness.
Well, I'm encouraged. It doesn't have a red circle on it, so I'm encouraged.
Exactly. Yeah. It's interesting. It's interesting, and hopefully, when I get the analysis back, we'll be able to get some conclusions.
Well, give me the photo, and I'll do it right away. I'll do it tonight for you.
Okay, yeah.
And
See if I can send that over.
I'll just send you the enhancements and. Ooh,
Sure.
Alex figured out how to blow this thing up. Yeah, not a lot of detail, but
No.
it's interesting. Huh.
Yeah, I've heard a bunch of different theories on it, so it'll be interesting to see. And it does lose a little bit of quality, just kind of being on YouTube.
Did he send the a photo before, so the creature's not in? So that's...
No, I haven't. This is the only photo that I received. The witness that I spoke to, he said he has the photo and everything like that. He just wasn't sure he wanted to share it, but he did share it with the Texas Parks and Wildlife, and that's where I got it from. I got it from the Texas Parks and Wildlife. Yeah, yeah.
Well,
he's definitely not an attention seeker. He was a guy who, I don't want to say hermit, but keeps to himself out there. Yeah. In one of his, that's in one of his pastures there.
Well, I just at first glance, I don't see any tampering, but I'd have to look at the.
And you can see at the bottom, it does look like a game camera. It has the maker at the bottom there, and the temperature and the time and everything else. The only thing is, when I received this from the Harrison County Sheriff's Office, I did notice the name was labeled 12345, and I really don't think it came that way off of the trail camera. Okay. So maybe they have some more photos. Could be, yeah.
Yeah. All right.
This is the only one I received. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, thanks a ton, Eric. I really appreciate it, and keep us updated.
Yeah, for sure. I appreciate you guys having me on. And
and you can go to the Media Palace and find his stuff. Thanks, Eric.
All right, guys. Appreciate
it. Yeah, thanks. Big time. All right.
Thank you. You can check out my channel.
Oh, there it is.
If you guys want. Yeah, the videos should be on my my channel, and check it out.
Appreciate it, Eric. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, guys. Yeah.
All right. Next, we have. Let's do our trivia here and talk about our next thing, which is foxes.
Can I play the bumper?
The bumper? I don't care. Go ahead. All right, Mr. Alex, have you ever heard of a cross fox or a Samson's fox?
No, I haven't.
No. Well, the first time I heard about it was somebody had reported seeing striped, almost like a Tasmanian tiger stripes. And in fact, your brother had a unique encounter with something. I think he was with Daryl. They were getting the garbage cans, and all of a sudden there was this fox standing there with huge ears and stripes on it.
Whoa.
Yeah. So anyhow, I'm certainly interested in this. Throw up throw up another photo here, photo 7. And I'm going to talk a little bit about all these different fox species. There we go. That's cool. So there are so many different combos and color combos of foxes. There's black, silver, white, albino, marbled, platinum, amber, lavender, cross, Samson, and there's even more colors on foxes. So what do you think their body length is? Is a fox 22 to 35 inches or 15 to 28?
15 to 28.
15 to 28. They're actually 22 average, 22 to 35 inches average. Body weight. Is it between 5 and 30 or 8 and 40?
8 and 40.
8 and 40. It's between 5 and 30 pounds. Some individuals have the white tip right on their tail. Some don't. Some don't. So can they run? 25 miles an hour or 31 miles an hour. It's pretty fast.
31.
31, yeah, you're right. Yeah, they can hit speeds of 31 miles an hour. And there is a big difference between cross foxes and red foxes. And they call them cross foxes, not because they're crossbred, but because they have kind of a cross on their back.
Yeah.
That's why. Yeah. Do you ever see foxes in your neighborhood?
Never.
Never. Well, I see them here all the time where I am.
That's so cool.
Cross foxes have a dark band on their back and one between their shoulders, which intersect, forming a cross. Hence the cross fox. And there's two types, the silver cross and the gold cross fox.
Golden.
Yeah, the gold cross fox. Oh my God, poor Alex doesn't even see. Brett, have you ever seen a fox? Period.
Yeah, in the zoo.
Oh my God, that's so sad. Okay, the silver cross is the rarest. The gold is more common, yeah. And apparently there's also an amber cross fox, cinnamon cross fox, champagne cross fox, fire and ice cross fox, and a pearl cross fox.
Ooh, pearl.
So let's throw up photo 8, which is a standard red fox, right? This is standard. It's what they look like. This is what most people think of, which are gorgeous animals. They are gorgeous. But now throw up photo 9, and then you get into one of these stranger types. Photo 9. Yep, there you go. Much stranger, right?
Yeah.
Photo
More
10 is
static.
the platinum type. Beautiful animal. There you go.
Beautiful.
Okay, so now you've heard of there's all sorts of clubs in places. I've seen restaurants, bars. There was one here in town called the Blue Fox. Remember the Blue Fox Inn?
Yeah.
Do you think there is such a thing as blue foxes? Anybody in chat?
I think there is.
You do?
Yeah.
All right. What does everybody else think? Is there such a thing as a blue fox that's blue? Alex says, yeah.
Yeah. There better be.
All right. Go ahead and throw photo 11 up.
Yeah,
Click it. There you go.
look at that. That's so cool.
11A.
For real.
11A. Throw it up.
11A.
Now, I would imagine these are enhanced, but I do know they're a real thing.
It looks like Sonic the Hedgehog.
Sonic the Hedgehog. It says, yes, blue foxes are real. They're color mutations. They are color mutations of red and Arctic foxes. The Alaskan blue fox is a native to the islands and peninsula of Alaska's southwest coast. So there you go. Isn't that cool?
That's very cool.
And then last photo, before we've had enough of this fox crap, photo 12. This is also seen, especially with Arctic foxes. 2 different colored eyes. And I would imagine those 2 different colored eyes help them see in different seasons.
Yep.
Where I think it's the blue eye helps them see in the winter, and the brown eye helps them see in the summer. Isn't that cool?
Yeah, he's giving us the brown eye.
The brown eye. All right. Beautiful animals. I would imagine everybody, likes foxes. I think we all grew up liking foxes. They're kind of cool. All right. That's enough of that fox crap. Do you want to do some clips before we bring on? And you let me know when we get Rob in the back room.
Yeah, he's in the back room, and so is David.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we got to do David. Let's do one round of clips, and we'll get David on for tech breakdown.
All right. Can I hit the cute bumper?
Sure. Go ahead. All right. Clip 1. Cute clip 1. No sound. This is a pretty interesting use of a mini skateboard. This thing can really man book. This is a skateboarding turtle. And it looks as happy and fast as it could be. Go ahead. Look at this thing. Gets around. It's interesting. I've seen other people that have given their pet turtle skateboards. At the right height and their claws can hit. That works. Clip 2, cute clip 2, no sound. I've never seen tiny little stinkers like this, but man, they're cute. And apparently he found these orphaned. Look at these dudes.
Wow.
And what I don't know, and I didn't research whether they can spray, I doubt it.
Right. When
they're that little.
When you have to start worrying.
I don't know. I'd worry right away. I wouldn't touch them. If I found orphan foxes, I'd probably be tempted to grab them, but I'd also be probably afraid. I'd get it right in the eye.
Right in the eye.
Yeah, right in the eye. Cute clip 3. Sound is fine. This is more my definition of cute. Go ahead and play it. No doubt, this dog is admiring the ocean, the beauty, and the sunset. Just chilling, just looking at it. It's so cool. This clip makes me think of what animals think about. You could tell. I mean, that was a sincere video.
That was.
I don't think he said sit, and made his dog and faked it. I think that dog was really contemplating the beauty.
Soaking it up.
Yep. Let's see here. One last one. Cute clip 4. Sound is fine. And these are sideways hoppers. Go ahead and play them.
Вот это кадр нахрен. Боже, подписота. Тут для вас такое снял,
They are
что
such
это просто
cool,
трэш.
weird animals.
Я такого не видел еще.
So they like monkeys?
Бля,
Yeah, they are.
ну
They're
это просто
primate.
кадры века.
That's
Это войдет во
crazy.
все мои нарезки.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think these guys are from like Madagascar or somewhere
Yeah,
Somewhere off.
one.
coast of Africa.
That's what I want for my birthday.
You want a lemur? I'll go get you one. I owned a monkey at one time.
Yeah, how'd that
I had
go?
a pet for a monkey. Yeah, it was challenging. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, a lot of monkey business.
No, it's like having a child.
Yeah.
It's no different. More work, actually. And if they really love you, then you got even more problems. Like mine never wanted to ever leave my side or my shoulder. Like ever. Like you go to the restroom and follow me.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so it's kind of a problem. He started getting a little defensive and jealous of other people.
Oh, yeah, that could be an issue.
All right, enough of that. Let's see here. Should we do these? We've only got 3 clips, and we'll do our tech breakdown.
Yeah, sure. Can I play the bumper?
What the F? Sounds fine on the first one. And if you ever see something like this, it's insanity. I once saw a person driving down the road with their whole wheel missing. And they just kept going. Sparks were flying. Go ahead and play this.
How do you do that?
Look at this. He's pulling his trailer. And it's flipped over.
Yeah. How far can you do this?
I don't know. You probably forever. You're not going to get very good mileage. That's for damn sure. But that's something that just shouldn't have ever happened, right?
Yeah. No,
there are people that just keep going. Your wheel falls off. You do not keep driving.
No, you gotta stop.
Okay. WTF clip 2 is don't get caught in what? I don't even know. Oh, yeah, don't get your tie down caught in your wheel. So the guy's he went and he gets lumber, right? And
Yeah.
a beautiful truck, and he gets his tie down caught in the wheel.
Oh
And this is
no.
the result. This is something Joey would do. Go ahead.
Oh no.
This is just something that you'd think he would have stopped, right?
No, stop driving. Stop driving.
Oh, there you go. That one fits perfectly. Poor guy, man. I feel bad when that happens.
Yeah.
I had a fifth wheel trailer once that we used in Monster Quest, and it ended up the driver jackknifed it and put a huge dent in the side of the trailer and wrecked the truck all in one just little turn. Big expense. Okay. All right. This next clip, I mean, this dog, I'm sure he's a sweetie, but man, this is a real beast. This is the dog of my nightmares.
This thing could eat you in one bite.
Look at the width.
Look at his head.
Oh my gosh. Insane.
That's a big dog.
Imagine that dog chasing you.
Oh no. Oh, if you
Oh, yeah,
wanted
did you hear
to.
that?
Yeah.
All right, enough.
His name's Pugsley.
I don't know, man. That's like unbelievable. All right, let's do a tech breakdown with David, which is going to be really interesting. So definitely going to want to watch this. Pay attention to this, because when my light bulb went off because of David, I've never been the same since when I listened to the Bigfoot sounds. There are some really huge differences. So take it away, David.
All right, we're gonna hit the bumper and we'll be right back.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
We gotta start things off good.
Well, good evening, everyone.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going good. Oh, I can't hear Doug. He's got his.
I was muted. Like a dork. I just, in case anybody's not familiar with David is a sound expert. He works with the Olympic Project. He has analyzed probably 8,000 plus sounds, David?
Yeah, that's about how many I've recorded. I've got maybe 12,000 clips, but a lot of it is repeated. And
yeah, well, whatever. You've done a lot.
Yeah.
David always contradicts me, no matter what I say.
Okay.
Okay, so I guess to just log line what you're going to be talking about and showing.
Sure.
You're going to be showing something that's similar to speech, but how there's a form and structure difference, or I should say missing. And that's key. So go ahead, take it away. I'm going to show.
Yeah. The attenuated fundamental is what we're going to be looking at. That was something that was brought forward and actually discovered how it related to Bigfoot by Bob Densford. He was doing lots of recordings, and he discovered that in one of his long howls that there was a missing the main fundamental, which is where the bulk or basis of the sound resides. When he looked at it in a spectrogram, he noticed that it was missing. And you know it's missing because it's a simple math scenario. So what I'd like to do is let's play an audio first. And it has the missing fundamental in it. And I discovered it when I compared it to a human voice. But let's go ahead and play this. And what I want everybody to listen to is how similar these two vocalizations sound. That's the important part, is that they sound extremely similar. One is a known human, and the other is suspected not to be a human because of this missing attenuated fundamental. So let's listen to this. You'll first hear Bill Lee, a professional voice actor, and then we'll hear John Andrews recording, which he is mimicking. He's trying to imitate the vocalization. So we have a known and an unknown. And what's important is when we look at this in the spectrogram, some things are going to pop. So let's listen to this and you will hear how similar they are.
Obviously, the second one was the Bigfoot.
We suspect so, and it becomes even a little more interesting because now when you look at the or the visual cues that you get from a spectrogram, some things become obvious. So, Alex, can you pop up the spectrogram of that? Right. Now, I don't know. On my end, that's a little bit smallish, but I hope people can see the one on the right, or excuse me, the one on the left is Bill Lee. That's the human. And the one on the right is the vocalization that John Andrews recorded. Now, what's interesting is if you look where I show no lower harmonic, that's actually where the fundamental should be. If you look on the left, that is Bill Lee's, that's where the bulk of the vocalization resides, and that is the main fundamental. So what's interesting is that the one on the right obviously does not have the same structure, but yet that's what we heard. I don't know, I'll ask you guys, did the vocalizations sound pretty similar to you? Alex?
Did to me. I mean,
I
a little
so.
different pitch, but.
Yeah, and there's a reason for that. Bill's, because he's a voice actor, he has lots of harmonics, and that's what makes the voice sound a little more full.
Yeah.
And in the upper section, you can see where I've annotated Bill's upper harmonics is not a match for the one on the right.
Well,
So
well, one thing I was going to mention, David. So one's got 5. One's only got 4.
Correct.
And isn't that the same? But isn't that the same exact thing that, like, when you analyze the Moorhead sounds, same kind of thing? The one fundamental is just gone.
Actually, it's has to do with the ah or the oo to ah transition, and that seems to be a physical characteristic in the vocal tract of the suspicious vocalization. In other words, their vocal tract isn't exactly the same as ours. So where that main fundamental should reside in the oo to ah transition, it slides right into the first formant or the first harmonic. So it's not actually produced. Now, what's really weird, and I just learned this recently, is that we actually hear it. And that's why I asked you, does it sound the same? And basically you guys said, yes, it sounds the same, but that's because the human mind replaces the main fundamental. It actually hears it. Your mind tells you, because we hear with our mind. Our ears are the receivers. Our mind tells us what we hear, and our mind tells us that main fundamental is present, even though it has slid up into the first formant. Now, I'm speaking a lot of technical gobbledygook here for most people, and I'm sure a lot of people are rolling their eyes right now. But all we need to know is that when you get a suspicious vocalization, it's can be noted in a spectrogram by not being able to find the main fundamental.
And that would mean that if somebody tries to fake, like Bigfoot, speech, it shows up with that fundamental that is not missing. And if it's authentic, it's missing. Correct?
Yeah, we have to be careful that, like I said, that it's the oo to ah transition, so it's vowel related.
Yeah,
and how this happens, which might be not noticeable in speech scenarios, but it is in the long howls. So when we look at the long howls, we're able to determine, actually mathematically, that the fundamental is missing.
But a human could not make a missing fundamental by trying to. Is that correct?
Correct. Right.
Yeah, see, that's the key.
Bill, he had no idea that his what we were telling him is try to match this sound. I wanted a clear vocalization that I could broadcast in the woods. That's why I asked Bill to imitate this vocalization in the first place.
Yeah.
Excuse me. So I was able to discover this when I examined them side by side in a spectrogram, and I went, wait a minute, why is this different? I mean, it sounds the same, and it shouldn't be different. It should be identical.
Yeah. Well, just having that lower part missing should allow anybody to be able to just look at it and go,
yes,
that's Bigfoot, that's not.
Yes. Well, yes, yeah. I'm dancing around with suspiciousness, but
no, I know
it's true. I think it's a Bigfoot, yes,
Yeah.
And I think it's a characteristic of theirs, and I think it has to do with the physical properties of where the vocal tract is located on their vocal cords.
Yeah, correct. So, and one of the unique things that can be tried, like you just did, is to do this experiment over and over with other things, trying to imitate the moorhead sounds.
Right.
And this could show that they just could not have been faked. And who in the heck? This technology wasn't around when Ron was making those recordings.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Do we have any other examples of this, or are we done?
No, I thought I would be overkill with just what we presented tonight.
Yeah, no, it's good. But everybody understand there's 4 on the Bigfoot, the ooze, but there's
that's the
5 on
composition of the voice.
Yep.
That's what you're seeing in those long straight lines. That's the resonance or the formants of vocalization, and the higher the formant, the higher in pitch of the sound.
Well, Michael Snodgrass has a really great comment. Is it possible that maybe that missing fundamental is down below 20 hertz?
No, that's not how it works. It's a mathematical progression. Okay. If your main fundamental is 100 hertz, your first formant will be 200 hertz. Your second formant will be 300 hertz. Your third will be 400. So when you look at a vocalization and it starts out at 200 and then goes to 300, where if it was the main fundamental at 200, the first formant would be at 400. And it's math. It's as simple as that. And
where is the first formant? Only because the screen is too small for me to read. On the Bigfoot. the first one, where does that lie? How many hertz?
Okay. Because it has a missing fundamental. The first one, I think, is 556.
Okay, and on the human
and then the next one is like 750.
Right.
So that mathematically doesn't work. So where the math is that it should be present, but it's not shown. That's why it's missing.
Yep.
It should be at 253 hertz.
Well, the fact that it's completely missing is what's most intriguing to me.
Right.
It's
Because
gone.
the OODA transition, it slides from the main fundamental to the first formant, which is the FO1.
Yep. All right. Thank you, David. That was
Thank you.
It's interesting.
Yeah,
but
crosses your eyes, but
we're gonna make experts out of everybody eventually here.
Yeah, the main thing is you look for when the math does not work on the resonance that's being shown. And like I said, it's a simple math equation. The main fundamental, if you can think of it in simple terms as being, let's just take round numbers. If your first main fundamental is 100 hertz, your first formant or your first harmonic is going to be 200 hertz.
Yep.
And so if you look at the difference, if your first formant is, or first main fundamental is 200 hertz, and the next one is 300 hertz, you got a math problem.
Yeah.
Because it goes in increments, and you can see that play out in these files. If you look over to the left, there's numbers, and that's where the resonance in hertz is signified.
Yep. All right, David, we're out of time. Thank you so much for the great explanation. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, David.
Thanks.
Yeah.
All right. Where are we at for time? We could probably get to introducing Rob. Yes.
Yeah, he's in the back row. That'd be great.
All right. So our guest tonight, Bigfoot Michigan Rob, he goes by. He had a strange encounter, and now years later is a cool podcast surrounding high strangeness, the Bigfoot mystery. He resides, I think, in a secret bunker somewhere in the shore of Lake Michigan, but maybe not. I don't know. He'll have to tell us. But let's bring Rob on. Do you have a secret bunker in the shores of Lake Michigan, Rob?
Well, you know what, Doug? Not Lake Michigan, Lake Huron.
Lake Huron.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. By the way, you had a sighting. I know you did. We've got Sibylla's sketches. Let's start right there because it gives people kind of an understanding of why in the world you're doing this. Because I would imagine, like all of us, you weren't interested until you had your own sighting, correct? Whoop, you're muted, gone. Cameras, there you go.
Hey.
Thanks. As a little kid growing up, I was interested in strange phenomena and Bigfoot. Throughout my life, I saw UFO, saw some ghosts. I saw the Patterson-Gimlin film, Leonard Nimoy. So I had an interest. But as life goes on, Doug, as you know, it's a passing fancy.
All right, explain your sighting. Just leave that up, Alex, right there. It's perfect. And this thing looks really weird.
Bizarre.
I've got to tell you, Doug, thanks for having me on, by the way.
Oh, yeah, you're welcome.
And the thing, I appreciate it. You do a great job. It's a fantastic show, and thank you once again. I must tell you, I call this my Bigfoot encounter, but even till this day, I'm really unsure what it is that I saw, as you can tell by the two different renditions by, of course, Sibylla Irwin.
Yeah.
And I'll get on and explain this encounter, what happened to me. I mean, I'll never forget it. It put me on the path where I am today, starting the podcast and writing the book and everything else. And in June 15th of 2018, I informed my girlfriend Cindy that, hey, you know what? I got a surprise trip planned, and I'm taking to Lake Cadillac in Cadillac, Michigan, which is in Wexford County, Michigan. And briefly on Wexford County, high strangeness abounds. Dogman, Bigfoot, all of these things happen. Now in 2018, I was not aware of these things, just to preface it. So Cindy, kind of reluctant, and I said, look, excuse me, I'm kind of an outdoorsy type of guy. I like to, not so much a hunter. My brother's a hunter, but I'm a fisherman. And I said, look, here's what I did. I rented a cabin and a small boat in Cadillac, Michigan. So we're going to go up there and we're going to experience a little fishing. And I said, yes, Cindy, in Cadillac, it's a quaint little town. There's other things to do other than fish. Small towns, small restaurants and shops, boutiques, something that would be up her alley. But I wanted to get her introduced into the outdoors. So we left. We got up to Lake Cadillac, and we got the cabin together. Got my small fishing boat, which was more like a skiff. Everybody, it wasn't very big. It was enough for 2 people, maybe 3, to patrol about Lake Cadillac. So in the morning when we get there, we get settled in, and we get in a little boat and we go out. We go out fishing, and Lake Cadillac, everybody, is. I have to make mention, it's in the Manistee National Forest. Now, the Manistee National Forest is huge. It's very vast. Lake Cadillac is actually situated close to Lake Michigan, but Lake Cadillac, and there's an attached lake called Lake Mitchell, which is just the same size as Cadillac. It might even be a little bigger. So we're on Cadillac, Lake Cadillac, and Lake Cadillac is surrounded by beautiful homes, some small business and industry. So a very nice vacation spot for anybody that travels in northern Michigan, northwest Michigan. So we're out on the boat, and we're doing we started our fishing, maybe around the water, maybe 10:30, 11 in the morning. And well, we're not getting any. Doug, Alex, we're not getting a bite, a nibble, and nothing. And I already can tell Cindy's getting a little bored with this fishing, venture. So I said, let's do a little bit of exploring and find another place. Maybe we'll have better luck elsewhere on the lake. And this is my first time out here, everybody. So I'm taking this little skiff and we're going about the shoreline and we're boating up and down Cadillac. And we came upon this canal. This canal connects Lake Cadillac to Lake Mitchell. So we went through the canal and we got onto Lake Mitchell. Now, Lake Mitchell, not quite as built up. Cadillac had a lot of homes and things surrounding it. Lake Mitchell, a little more laid back, not as many homes, no businesses. And the backdrop of the Manistee National Forest is right there. Beautiful scenery. I preferred it much over Cadillac. Nonetheless, still a beautiful area to be at. So I'm looking for a place to go fishing. So I'm going down the shoreline. Then I get into this little bay or this cove, and I start drifting 90 feet from shore. And I told Cindy, okay, I'm going to just kind of drift along the shoreline, and I'm going to set up our bait and our tackle. I'm going to try a different lure, a different bait. Maybe we'll have some better luck. Nobody's on the boat, nobody's on the water around us. It's like the middle of the week, so most people are probably working. There's maybe 1 or 2 fishermen hundreds of yards away. So I'm looking down, and I'm getting the tackle assembled. Cindy is out looking toward the shoreline when she says, hey, Rob, I think somebody's throwing rocks at the boat. And I'm like, really? So I look up at the shoreline. There's nothing there. There's the beautiful backdrop of the Manistee National Forest, which drops right into the lake. And we're drifting. And I said, look, there's nobody there, Cindy. Let me get back to attending our tackle so we get our lines out in the water. She goes, yeah, okay. Maybe 30 seconds later, she says, Rob, someone's throwing rocks at the boat. I seen a rock come close to hitting the boat. I don't see anything or hear anything. I'm incoherent to what she's saying. I look up again. I'm kind of a little perturbed. I said, Cindy, look, honey, let me get the tackle together and I can look along the shoreline with you. She goes, okay, whatever. So now I'm, again, adjusting the rod and reel, the bait. I'm looking down. For whatever the reason, Doug, Alex, audience, everyone listening, then I happen to look up and I see an object falling from the sky, beautiful blue sky, bright sunny day. And sure enough, a rock, perhaps the size of a baseball, lands about 3.5, 4 feet in front of our boat. And I looked to Cindy, who's like standing now at the boat, and I looked to her and apologized to tell her, yes, someone's throwing rocks. I'm looking at Cindy, and Cindy was a sun worshiper. She already had a nice tan going, and I'm looking at her asphyxiated at the shoreline, and from head to toe, she's pale. She's white. I'm like, what in the world is she looking at? I looked to shoreline, and there it is standing at the shore. There's this humanoid, this figure. Now, I say humanoid because, again, everybody listening, I'm 90 feet. I'm pretty close. It's covered in reddish brown hair draped from head to toe. But I can see, and the chest was exposed. It was a grayish chest. And the face looked like a person, a human almost, but a weird looking person, scaly gray skin, that had offset eyes. They kind of drooped a little bit. And it looked like a person, and excuse me, but the first thing that entered my mind was a person with perhaps Down syndrome, or a person that perhaps had a stroke, right? Very odd looking person, yet it's not a person. I'm thinking, right? This is something. And again, you guys knew about Bigfoot from years ago, but I'm not thinking Bigfoot at all. I'm thinking, what is this strange creature?
Yeah.
And I'm perplexed, and I can understand where Cindy, how she was drained of all her color. Then, standing on the shoreline, as I'm looking at this thing, I have the boat kind of stopped and poised 90 feet away, as I say. On the left, that's what it looked like immediately, right? At the onset. Then it raised its arms to a parallel position, paralleling the lake, and it drops its jaw. It exposes the two teeth, as y'all can see in this picture here, and it rolls back. I mean, that skin, that grayish skin got all taut, the eyes drew black, and it emanates this roar, this screech, this yell, ungodly sound, like almost like a woman being, brutalized in the forest. Excuse me for being graphic here. And this sonic, I always explain it, Doug, and everyone listening, as a sonic boom that just, I could feel the penetration, the reverberation of this yell. I could feel it hit me. I stumbled back a little bit. And to me, I always tell people it turned from the humanoid into, it almost looked demonic at this point. And this scream was tremendous. I stumbled back. Cindy, 5'1", about 110 pounds. Everybody, she falls off the back of the boat, reminding you it's a skiff, not very big, loses balance. She's now in the water. And this thing is roaring, horrendously roaring. I now know to get Cindy to assist her to get her back in the boat. But now, everybody, as I always explain, I always say the story the same. The reason I explained the beautiful green backdrop of the Manistee National Forest, the beautiful greens of the forest, the blue sky, the sun, the orange sun. Now, all of a sudden, everybody, everything turned dull. Like I was looking through a filter. The beautiful colors vanished to a grainy, almost black and white. Time seemed to stand still. And what's even more scary is I am paralyzed. I cannot move to my right to get Cindy. I cannot move. I know I've got to get her. And this thing is just roaring down on us. So I'm trying to shake my head and snap out of this. I finally get my cognizance back. I snap out of it. I regain The color comes back. I grow and I get Cindy. I get her into the boat. And now here's, as scary as this encounter was, my stomach, I felt like I had a pit in my stomach because now I look back to shore to look at this thing again. Well, it's gone. Now I'm thinking, where the heck did it go? Is it swimming after me? I mean, what's the deal?
Rob,
yes.
Did you ever think there was more of them?
At that particular instance, I did not. I just saw the one. I'm already
So you're just concerned, where is this guy? Where is he?
Where is he? And now, of course, I'm concerned to get Cindy in the boat, and I'm concerned what's this creature's next action, and then it's gone. It's not on the shoreline. I'm like, where is it? I get Cindy in the boat. I whip that boat around, and I take a beeline from Lake Mitchell across Lake Mitchell, get back to that canal that leads back to Lake Cadillac, and I take the boat and I beeline back to where we launched it. I docked the boat. Cindy, I put a beach towel on her or whatever it was I had at the time. She's shivering. We get out of the boat, and I look for some place where we can go sit down. I'm certainly not going to sit in this little boat, right?
Were you
out of the boat.
Were you worried about docking the boat though? At all,
Well, no.
as far as being far enough away?
When I turned around and sped out of there, my concern, the only thing in my head was get back to where I launched the boat and just get there and get out. And not knowing where this thing is, I'm figuring it can't be swimming fast.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but we need to.
Yes.
How far from the launch was the sighting?
Well, the launch was on Lake Cadillac, and Lake Cadillac's expansive. I'm going to say 500 yards. I mean, I'm just throwing a guess out there. To get back from point A to point B, maybe 500 yards.
Oh, that's not very far.
And so, and that could be further, you guys. If you look on Google Maps, they're very big, and I'm not the best with distance, but 500 yards minimum, 5 football fields, right?
But it wasn't like super far. It's not like you were flying for a good while.
No, it took maybe, I opened the boat as fast as you go on that little skiff. What it does was to do 20 miles an hour. 20, so it seemed like it took forever to get there. And again, it's a very big lake. So my 500 yards could be shy of that, but it seemed like it took forever. But I get the boat docked, and I see we get out. And I'm immediately looking for a place where we can go relax and sit down and just calm her down. I mean, she's not screaming or yelling, but she's in shock. And frankly, you guys, I'm in shock. I don't know I'm trying to process this. I've never seen such a thing in my lifetime. And then to have my cognizance and then my awareness get dulled, felt like time was slowed down. I get her out, and we go out, we walk up to the road, and up the road, maybe a half a block, we find this restaurant bar. We go in. And again, thankfully, it was like the middle of the week, and I walk in the door of this place, this establishment. I look to the right. There's maybe 1 or 2 people over there. Now, you guys, is surprisingly not that busy. It's probably right around lunchtime at this time. And I look to the left, and I see this booth in the far left corner, and I go back. Find the booth, we sit down, and Cindy and I are standing across from each other, not saying a word, not even saying a word. We're just sitting there in shock, trying to process this. At least that's what I'm trying to do. She, I'm sure, is doing the same. Barmaid comes over, what you having? Cindy, not a drinker, orders a shot of Jack Daniels and a bottle of Bud Light. Okay. Yeah.
I would have ordered a bottle of Jack Daniels.
But not being a drinker, right? I've never seen her drink or try since I was dating her. And I tell the lovely bartender, I'll have the same, make mine a double. So the young lady, and again, we're not saying anything, you guys. Young lady comes back with her shot of Jack, her bottle of Bud Light. I have 2 shots of Jack, 2 bottles of Bud. I look at Cindy, picks up the shot glass, throws it down like a champ, like she's been drinking for 20 years, takes a bottle of Bud Light, washes it drank like half the bottle. I polished my 2 shots off immediately and like gunned my bottle, right? Now we sit there, chest expands, right? And I know it kicked her in the rear end. And she goes, honey, what do you think that was we just saw? I said, honey, I don't know. What do you think that was? I'm still processing it. She goes, honey, I think it was that Bigfoot creature. And you guys, we never spoke about Bigfoot during our relationship. Sure, we watched movies and we knew about Bigfoot. I told you guys I knew about Bigfoot long ago, and I was interested, had a passing interest. I go, yeah, I think maybe it was. I don't know for sure.
Did it hit you that it was a Bigfoot, or did it?
She brought up the Bigfoot before I did, and it struck me like, wow. And I started thinking. Then you guys, I start reeling in my head. And I do remember the Patterson Gimlin film, the Patty film. Looked nothing like that, as you guys saw from the 2 beautiful images drawn up by Sibylla. I'm like, I'm not so sure what it was, right? Then she says to me, Rob, should we call the state police to DNR and report this? I said, honey, I don't think we should. What we just saw, I don't know if we get laughed at, ridiculed, or not believe us. Some people from southern Michigan are telling some tale of some creature on the shoreline. So I said, no, let's just leave it at this and mark this down as a terrible experience. So unfortunately, we left like the next morning. We were both in no mood to hang out even in the quaint little town of Cadillac. So we drive home. As soon as we get home, we immerse ourselves on the computer. First thing we do, we get on the internet, start looking up Bigfoot, demons, animals, creatures, Lake Cadillac, finding certain things. And then I popped onto YouTube. And I got to tell you guys, with YouTube, I never use YouTube for anything. I use YouTube to watch like live concerts. I didn't use YouTube to look up how to fix a flat, bake a cake, any of that. I just never used it. So I started typing in Bigfoot encounters, Bigfoot, saw some things, but nothing satisfied me. So I started investigating further. Then I got into looking up, finding maybe people involved in like Bigfoot research, and as well as Cindy. So this went on, and I have to tell you guys now, this took place June 15th of 2018. So we're into this. Cindy and I did not live together. She lived with her mom, and so that's how it was with us. We weren't living couple. Her mom, who did not like me at all, okay, and that's a different story. I owned a bar. So because Robbie owned a bar, Robbie was the demon. She's one of these types that if you were involved with bar ownership, you were kind of not a good person. So her mom never liked me.
So you were a bad boy.
I was a bad boy. So I get this call from her mom, and I don't really recognize the voice. Never spoke to her on the phone, met her a handful of times. Cindy passed away. I'm like, who is this? It's her mom, she says. What do you mean she passed away? Yeah, I thought I should tell you. I think they said she had a heart attack, and you must be taking her, doing something with these bars that you own all the time.
What?
Yeah. And again, like I told everybody, she never drank or smoked a day in her life that I've seen up until the bar after the encounter, right? So I'm like, well, what happened? So another layer to the story, I was not allowed at the funeral. I was not allowed to have access to an autopsy report because I'm thinking in my head, how does 42, 43-year-old woman who doesn't drink, smoke, do drugs have a heart attack?
Right.
So I was kept out of I couldn't even go to the funeral, you guys. Well, I got to tell you something. I wanted to go back to Lake Cadillac and blow up that place. Now I'm thinking in my head, this creature, this being, whatever it is, has something to do with it. I'm thinking that when we got hit with that sonic yell, blast, whatever, I think her little insides got messed up. And so I want to go back and I called my brother. Let's go hunt. We got something we need to do. I didn't do it. I did not do it.
How I'm sorry if
Yeah.
you said this. How long was it when you had the sighting and then she passed?
Well, yeah, exactly. These dates are kind of strange. June 15th, 2018. I got the call. She passed August 15th, the same year, 2018.
So a month away, month after.
Yeah. Well, June to August. Yep. June 15th
Or no,
to
2
August.
months.
June 15th, August 15th.
Yeah, 2 months.
And the dates are the same. You know, the 15th, the sighting, the 15th of August. So you guys, when I got that news and knew that I was not allowed access to anything with my girlfriend, I went, and then I wanted to go kill whatever this creature was, and
You wanted to find it.
I wanted to find it and just blow up, you know. And so
and before that, I'm assuming you had never gone back at that point to that location.
that was the first. Well, in 2018 was the first time I ever stepped foot on Cadillac. First, I was like a random. I went on the map. I said, "Let's go here," to myself. Then I said, "Look, this is where we're going." Never been to Cadillac. Have not been back since, by the way. So
okay. So, well, hang on, Rob.
Yeah.
We definitely want to cover some other territory. This needs its own 2 hours. This is a story. It's crazy.
No, the story is crazy story.
It is crazy. Let's go back to it's also very sad. Let's go back to the creature.
Yes.
Sibylla drew it, almost like the Hunchback of Notre Dame, with the one eye lower than the other one.
Yeah.
And did you really notice this thing was quite kind of almost deformed in the face?
It was deformed. Like I say, when I seen the creature, the deformity, and that's how I always tell people, what I remember seeing was a human. Obviously, it's certainly the facial features remind me of some sort of deformed human. But then how do you explain it was just draped in that long hair?
Yeah.
All over the body. So I know it's not a human. So I came up with, and I said a humanoid. Didn't even say Bigfoot at the onset, right? And now if you look at this picture here, it is metamorphosed the face into that.
I know, but okay, she drew it with really sharp, long, like the bottom teeth are really long.
Well,
can you get into some detail on the teeth? What's the deal? Were they sharp?
Sibyl and I spent probably 4 hours. We spent like a couple weekends for a couple weeks, when we had time together. And I distinctly remember when it dropped that jaw and transformed into this, what we're looking at. I distinctly see those white pearly teeth. I remember seeing the fangs coming down to kind of look like an oversized dog, and those long incisors between the mouth coming up. I see that. Again, 90 feet away, I'm pretty close, and it was a beautiful. At the time, I could see sharply until, of course, everything kind of fizzled and faded when it looked black and white. I distinctly see that and remember that to this day. And yes, and that's why I could not understand what in the world. How does this happen? Make this transformation?
Well, you need to make one. Okay, so you did see sharp teeth. 2. Was it during the scream that everything got weird with your vision?
Yes, during the scream.
Okay.
See, when it goes from the humanoid-looking person, it drops its jaw, and I see this right here with the fangs, the teeth. And then when they bellows that roar and that scream is when everything went really weird. Not the story is weird enough, I get it. But that's when, after I see this thing, and then I know Cindy falls into the water, but then all of a sudden dullness overtook my vision, right? Everything slowed down, and it was grainy, looking through a filter, if you will, became black and white, and not black and white per se, but the bright colors faded. And I can't move for a few seconds. I'm almost paralyzed. I've suffered from sleep paralysis before, where I couldn't move. I'm sitting in a chair and I just can't move. So that's what overtook me.
Okay, so when it screamed, can you give us more of an idea on the volume? You said obviously you could feel it reverberate, almost like bass.
I always explain to people, and it's certainly not this everybody, but the best way I always try to explain this, if you see some of these videos where a bomb is dropped and you see it hits its point, and then you see like the shock waves kind of come out and then takes out everything. Certainly, I did not see that, and certainly it wasn't a bomb, but it felt to me like the waves came from the forest's edge, the water's edge, and just flowed at us and hit me, and I felt an impact where I was jostled back a little bit.
Okay, so but the volume. What was the volume
the depth,
of your ears like?
It was extremely loud, almost like if a train was running by. Maybe not to a roar of a train. I mean, that's maybe the best I can explain it. Certainly not as loud as a train if you're on top of the train, certainly. But if you're like 100 feet away from a train, I mean, we've all been at railroad stops. We're here. Sometimes these fast freighters will go by. It was an intense sound. It was loud.
Alex, can you put up Travis's comment?
Yeah.
I want Rob to read this too. Can you read that, Rob?
My first girlfriend passed months after she saw some weird entity in the dark room one night. In the dark.
Yeah, it's interesting though.
Wow, I feel for you, Travis. Again, when that happened to me, you guys, I didn't go to work for 6 months. I told my manager of the bar, here are the keys. I can't explain what happened to me, but I got to figure some things out. And during that 6-month period is when I didn't do anything but sit in my house and just investigate this, and try to get a hold of people to find out what I saw. I was battling two mysteries: the mystery of what I saw, and the mystery of how come so quick, so fast, Cindy left us.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, they may not be correlated as but they could be. You don't know.
Right. I don't know. I've told this story in 2018. I told this story like on a whim. I did a video, and then throughout the last 5 years, 6 years now, many people have many theories, many possibilities, and I've had hundreds. I've come to I first thought it was some demonic activity. I will tell you today this. Demons were not involved. I think this was an entity, probably a Bigfoot that manifested, because I was doing interesting research on baboons, and a baboon in the forest, certainly a kind of an ugly species to begin with, and they have their face, but when they are on the hunt, or if they feel threatened or want to intimidate a predator, they can take. It reminded me of my encounter. They can take their face and metamorphosize it and conform it into something that doesn't look like their original look. I mean, they have that big jaw, the big teeth, the skin gets tightened. So this is kind of reminds me of that now, after I've been searching for so long. I'm not saying this is some big baboon, you guys. I'm just saying that's kind of reminded me of the transformation in the metamorphosis. So
the way the face.
Find a baboon picture, the threatening baboon, male baboon.
Yeah.
Threatening male baboon.
And that's kind of what it reminds me of, Doug, and everybody listening. It was just so unusual and so. But here's the thing: to see something that at the time I'm thinking of some sort of monster, you guys. Something I don't think I could ever. I've not even seen it in the movies. It was just very
that's
life. It was life changing for me. It really was.
Thanks, Rockland. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, I mean, look at that.
How about one with the mouth open? Is there any with the mouth open? That is odd. Yeah. See if there's any with the mouth open, Alan.
And I like these photos because this is what I came across after looking this stuff up. That's the closest thing that I can see that matches what I saw.
Yeah. So do you think it had smaller teeth? You show it with the two big, long
points. Well, Sibylla did a rendition. I'll be honest with you. it might not have been as oversized as Sibylla did.
Yeah.
But trust me, you guys, I told her what to draw. We
Yep.
worked together
And
on
she's
it.
good.
But I just remember just seeing these teeth, 4 of them.
Gosh. Any luck on an open
I'm
fathom,
looking.
Alex? Okay. So the fur was what, reddish brown?
Reddish brown hair, long draping hair.
There we go.
Look at that. That's very you guys. I mean, that's again as close a similarity with a real animal picture that you can come up with. Teeth were like that.
So it may have had small teeth in between the two canines. It just might have been far enough away, or its lip may have been curled down.
I'm sure it had more than 4 teeth. Yeah, you would think
right.
yes.
Yep.
But the 4 teeth were more pronounced, more definitive.
Yep.
So it kind of
longer. Well, even humans have longer canine teeth. I mean,
we all do. We all have incisors. We all are probably vampires at one point in our life, right? Yeah.
We definitely have the teeth of a predator.
We do,
There we go.
Yes.
So it may have had teeth like that with the front teeth, but it may have had longer canines because even humans can sometimes have the canines protrude down 1/4 inch beyond the first 4 teeth. So
yes, absolutely.
It can happen. That's interesting.
Yeah.
There you go, Alex. Good job.
Yeah, good job. And again, you guys, you got to imagine too, maybe this all took place in 20 seconds, which probably seemed like, for me, it seemed like it took a century,
Yeah.
But that's the best description. The story, I say the same all the time because that's what happened. It's such a thing that.
Well, let's switch gears. Let's let this thing, this is kind of heavy. Let's switch gears.
Yeah.
The habitat in and around where you saw the creature, in and around the Great Lakes in general.
Yes.
Let's talk about the habitat. There's a lot of people that haven't really gone to they haven't been around the Great Lakes.
Right.
I mean, it's an amazing habitat.
I can see where anything could hide in that habitat. I mean, I will say this about the Manistee National Forest, which is not in the Upper Peninsula. It's the lower. It's about 50 miles north of Lake Flint. If you go to the middle of Michigan and below, not as much forestry. It's not as wooded. But once you get outside of Flint and go north, the entire top half of our state is the Manistee National Forest and other forests, many of different national forests. But the Manistee National Forest, I always bring up because that's the largest. If you look at the state of Michigan, I kind of view it as like the coastal waters, because on the west coast of Lake Michigan to the east coast of Lake Huron, the Manistee Forest encompasses all of that with all the other surrounding forests, national parks, state parks. So it's vast with all sorts of game, deer, wildlife, anything that any predator, be a dogman, a Bigfoot, or any or cougar, anything, right? And so there's a lot of and the waterways, lots of lakes, rivers, and streams run through there. And then most people, I mean, it's the popular opinion, right? With Bigfoot or any of these creatures. We're talking about Bigfoot today.
Yeah.
They travel along these rivers, these streams. They travel along the power lines.
And there's so many tributaries that flow out of these lakes. It's crazy.
Oh, it's like a million different fingers. Like it almost reminds me of veins and arteries coming off of one.
Yeah.
Off of the heart, right? Kind of reminds me of that. And so it's very and it's dense,
and it's high quality water,
very quality. We get all of our drinks. Chicago and Michigan's filled. 10 million homes are filled with the water just from the Great Lakes in our states. And I just read that. Actually, I came upon that statistic just the other day, and I didn't even realize that. So yes, and the wildlife's abundant, and there's many places for these creatures to hide. And And again, and when I started getting involved with this, I started pulling up reports of all the counties, all the villages, cities, and towns in this part of Michigan. And there's a lot of different sightings with a lot of different Bigfoot. And there's also Wexford County.
Yeah.
By the way, Cadillac, Michigan is in Wexford County. And then again, you guys, I'm a novice in 2018 to all of this. And then the further you dive down the rabbit hole, the more things you come up with. The further confuses you. Then I find out about Wexford County being the quote unquote capital of Dogman in the state of Michigan. We had a Dogman sighting in Wexford County in
Is it
1982.
possible that's what you saw? Was some kind of dogman?
People have said Dogman, Gugwe, a demonic being. Some people suggested because parts of the national forest, particularly where I was haunted sacred lands. And somebody even gave me this theory that the thing that I saw was casting its energy negative, thought it was a possessed being cast upon by First Nations. Now get this, where when it exuded that force, that roar, the thunderous roar, that it casts on its negative vibes and energy onto Cindy, who took it in, and she was too small enough to withstand it.
Yeah.
Now that's things I've heard. Now I'm not going to dismiss that because I've heard similar stories, much like we all have. But there's so much into that my brain blows up, just thinking about and talking to a lot of great people, by the way, and I respect all their opinions. But but anyway, with Northern Michigan, it's a beautiful place if you're into the cryptid field.
Well, it's also, I mean, just the wildlife there is so amazing. There's just giant herds of deer, bear, wolverines, pine martens, turkeys, the amount of reptiles along the shore. And I mean, it's really a kind of a Garden of Eden all around the Great Lakes.
It is. And the mystery behind the enchanted forest, the haunted forest. And then, of course, this is a different topic, the haunted lighthouses that surround Lake Michigan, Lake Huron. There's so many, all of this. I think all this is connected in some way with all of these different things that we all study and that we're all into. And I think, further along I've been doing this, I think there's a connection and relation to everything. And this state in particular has got a lot of high strangeness. They talk about Lake Superior having tons of UFO sightings, speculation that there are alien bases beneath the waters of Lake Superior, where the First Nations of Lake Superior have seen craft emerge from the water. And so all sorts of it's a great place to investigate if you're into the research and if you're into anything that we're all into today. Obviously, everybody listening, yourself, Doug, and Alex. So it's plethora of anything you're into. You can find it here.
Now, the Great Lakes, part of the problem is the people that generally live around the Great Lakes are still a lot of people that are very conservative from a standpoint is see it and shut up because of the small towns they live in and the small towns nearby and the neighbors. There's so many more sightings in the Great Lakes than people would ever comprehend. They just don't talk about it.
Well, it's funny. I was in the Upper Peninsula, which is a whole different world. And this is maybe in 2021, 2022.
Were you born there, Rob? Were you born in?
I was born in southeastern Michigan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I'm like 20 minutes. I've been in the Detroit area my entire life. Obviously, I've moved from here.
So you were an Ooper? Is that what they call guys?
I was in a Ooper. If you live in the Upper Peninsula over the Mackinac Bridge, you're a Ooper.
Yep.
And it's funny because it depends what town you go into. What you made mention is correct, Doug. If I mention, hey, I was just joking because I'm a friendly guy and I just say things off the cuff. I miss some restaurant. Hey, any Bigfoot sightings out here? people look and they're like, oh, this guy, he's definitely from the South, because we don't talk about that here. But in other parts of town, as I travel toward the West, they'll openly talk about it. But then I find too, Doug, that most of the sightings that are reported are in south of the Mackinac Bridge. Because if you think about it, I think that in the Upper Peninsula, I think it's hush hush, but I think there's a reason why there's not as many sightings. It's so vast and abundant. It just seems like people just don't travel and traverse in the jungle. It's not a jungle like Africa
Yeah,
or
it's
anything.
very thick. Yeah, there's no way to get through.
Yeah,
It's
you're-
not
you're
like
not-
Northern California that you can walk through it.
Yeah.
It's just a tangle. Oh my God, it's so thick.
411. Well, perhaps. I mean, certainly the Great Lakes is. If you read some of Pallades' books, the 411 in the Great Lakes is often mentioned.
So you and forgive me, but so you said you've never gone back to that place
No.
where you had the site. Would you ever consider going back?
Yeah.
Or do you think?
Yeah, I would.
Do you think it'd be a bad idea?
I don't think so today. I mean,
Did you-
I've made my peace. The biggest mystery for me, you guys, I'm not scared of the entity, the Bigfoot, whatever I saw. And again, I can't even just say it's Bigfoot, because it probably was, but it was something that I can't process. The thing that the mystery to me, Bigfoot and cryptids are a mystery to me that I love, and I love the subject. The mystery is still that haunts me probably to the day I die is how Cindy died and why.
Yeah.
Because that's to me the biggest and saddest part of the soul story.
Yeah, it is.
I'm not scared to go back to Cadillac to find this creature, but knowing what happened there.
Are there other sightings in that vicinity of a Bigfoot?
Well, Wexford again, it's in Wexford, Michigan, and Wexford, Michigan has had a plethora of encounters with not only the Bigfoot but also the Dogman.
Okay. So it definitely is a hot spot.
It's a hot spot.
Yeah.
There's several. Again, if you're into the field, north of me, Michigan is a place to do your research. I don't really call myself a researcher. I get out when I go in the woods today. I know what to look for now after just years of study now since 2018. But when I go, I know what to look for and listen. And I'm just aware. I'm more aware of my surroundings today than I ever was before. I was probably scared, and I think that I think I made one of those vows that a lot of people that you hear have when they come across an encounter. I'm never going back in the woods. I'm never hunting, things like that. I was that guy for a while. Today, I'm not that guy. I'm that guy that seeks answers. And I think we all do. That's why we do this. So yeah, absolutely.
Alex, can you look up or Google how many acres are in the Manistee Forest? And that's a national forest, correct?
Yes.
Okay, Alex, and then how many are in the Superior National Forest? Superior National Forest, I'm curious, because that's where I had my first Bigfoot in probably encounter class C or whatever they call it, where there was chest beating and the stink, and then everybody in my deer hunting camp had the same exact experience, even though our deer stands were a quarter mile apart in the Superior National Forest. And obviously, I've investigated a lot of sightings up there.
I'm sorry. What statistics did you want on them?
Just how many acreage? What's the acreage of the Manistee Federal, or I guess National Forest?
Manistee National.
Manistee National Forest.
So it looks like Superior is 3.9 million acres.
That tiny little area.
And Manistee is 540,000 acres.
Okay, that's a big area.
Yes, that's probably our biggest here. South of the bridge, that encompasses, as I said, you can traverse it from the west side of the state all the way to the east.
Yeah.
It seems to blanket that top. But then again, if you look on a map, everybody who's not familiar with Michigan, again, 50 miles north of Flint, it's all forests and national state parks. But the Manistee National Forest seems to be the one that, anyway, if you whatever reports you look up on, seem to have the most, right? But there are also some Lake Huron. There's plenty of towns up and down like the thumb of the state of Michigan.
Yeah.
In the Mitten, there's a lot of things going on there. But I attribute it all to the waterways and again the tributaries, because it's where they traverse, in my opinion. I mean, we all think that, I believe.
Yeah, they use them as corridors, no doubt. Alex, can you put up the full size that shows the entire body that Sibylla did of the creature?
Yeah.
I think I sent you that one too. David had mentioned air sacs that maybe were drawn even. Can you go ahead and, yeah, certainly has got, God, that's just so weird.
And again, see, and I tell people this, and I have no problem saying this. To me, I don't know if that's not a traditional Bigfoot, if there's such a word,
Yeah.
that I've seen. Now here's the one that I saw originally. It looks kind of like a docile person lost. I mean, doesn't have. I mean, doesn't it? It looks. And certainly, what I
what you're
encountered
saying.
wasn't docile.
Well, it looks a little like it's the brightest bulb on the Bigfoot tree.
No, he doesn't look.
He's not going to Harvard.
So, but to go from that to the other is really the thing that was like so
Well,
mesmerizing.
but it could be the same thing, obviously. I mean,
Yeah.
just stretching its mouth open would give it a whole new look.
But to have that face, that to totally change that look completely, to me, was the thing that's most frightening and more mysterious.
Don't you wish we knew? Wouldn't it be nice to just know? So you'd be a good candidate for hypnosis.
Well, I don't know if I'd want to go through that. I gotta tell you, I've seen a lot of other crazy things in my life. I've seen this one encounter, but I've had experience. I suffer from, and it's funny, it started happening after my encounter. I got sleep paralysis. When I was a little kid, I saw a ghost at 5. I saw a UFO at like 8, and then I saw ghosts throughout my life, shadow people. I saw encountered ghosts in my bar that I own because my employees always said the bar was allegedly haunted. So I finally started spending nights there, and yeah, sure enough, it was haunted, all right, because I seen ghost apparitions in there. So yeah, and the thing is, I think that I've always been unique in the way that I could, find and pick out things, right? That followed me around. I brought home these antiques. When I was first married back in my mid-20s, we used to go to antique shops and buy all these off-the-wall, crazy-looking things, and we set up a room in our house with curio cabinets with all these crazy little relics. And then we started seeing shadow people in the house. We saw dark shadows come out of the darkness. And it took me, we got a hold of a psychic or a medium back in the day, whatever it was, whatever they called them back then, that had bad energy in that room. And as soon as I got rid of that stuff, it all went away. But you know what? I put it all in the garage. The following spring, I go in the garage and I see the dark shadow people in my garage. I said, "This is it. No way." I packed that stuff up, took it to the dump, and got rid of it. And that's the short version of that story. But I've always seen spooky things, and I've always believed in monsters and ghosts as a kid. I was brought up that way from my father.
Mm-hmm.
And I was born on Abbott and Costello, which was the comedic version.
Me too.
Yeah, and then the Lon Chaney, Bela Lugosi, and Boris Karloff, the black and whites, the 3 classics, right? Frankenstein's monster, Dracula, and the Wolfman. I watched those ad nauseum growing up as a kid, right?
Well, they played every day at lunch and noon.
Yeah, it was always Sunday morning matinee or Sunday evening matinee. And then it got lightened when Abbott Costello met, the Frankenstein monster, which was kind of funny. But yeah, so
they called them melodramas back when we were
Did they really? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, they weren't monster movies. They were melodramas. They
Yeah.
called them. That was a monster movie. Was a melodrama.
Yeah. Absolutely. But yeah. So.
Oh. Yeah, Lori goes, well, we only had 2 channels. Well, yeah, it's kind of, we all kind of grew up that way.
Yeah, kind of. And it was black and white, as you all recall. You know, the black. I guess you can find them in color today, but I haven't watched those in many years because I saw them at nauseum as a kid, anyways.
It added to the spookiness, Alex. The black and white
Yeah.
melodrama movies. You watch a vampire movie in black and white, it's a little more creepy.
Yeah. Peter Cushing, I liked Peter Cushing, but the best vampire, in my opinion, was
Bela
always
Lugosi.
Bela Lugosi was cool, but I when I got a little older, I liked the scarier, more savage Christopher Lee. Yeah, I thought he was a cool vampire. If you remember Christopher Lee,
Christopher Lee vampire.
he was in those Hammer movies. See, I know all that stuff because I was a buff.
What do you mean Hammer movies?
Hammer Productions, HAMM.
Oh,
Yeah.
Gotcha. So, what do you think?
It is
generally a Bigfoot is. Are you in the paranormal camp? Or are you?
I'm in the I'm out of the Aper camp. Okay, now those that are in, that's fine and dandy. There's just something too paranormal. What I saw was definitely well, actually, what I saw, I can't classify really as paranormal, but since I've been doing this and talking to so many people, like on my show, I've talked to I've done 200 interviews, and I think, and one of my favorite guests, Ron Moorhead, talks about the quantum mechanics, how they can take mass converted energy and go anywhere they want. And Ron Moorhead talked to me. He said, Rob, if I just met you 30 years ago, I would have told you, if you told me that you thought that Bigfoot was supernatural, I said, young man, turn around and go home. And now I had him on my show actually 2 weeks ago, and he says, Rob, he thinks they're supernatural and paranormal. He thinks they have the ability to do whatever they want. He, in fact, goes as far as to say that he thinks they're alien in nature, which is a whole other conversation. But, I believe all these things are plausible. So me personally, if you want my opinion on it, I think they're flesh and blood in nature with that paranormal element, right?
Well, my iPhone, I always tell people my iPhone would have been paranormal back in the 50s. So,
well, there you go. Yeah, well, good. Well, I think you're right, though.
It's just because we don't understand something.
It is, and anything, and hell, the word paranormal is simply, in simplest terms, is something we don't is unknown to us. That's really paranormal.
So Rob,
I wish there was a new word.
Yeah,
invented,
but not the woo, right? The woo,
not woo, not paranormal.
So you've moved woo, but did you start there, or did you find yourself there after 200 interviews?
I found myself in the woo camp.
So. Oh, come on, Alex. He only did 199. You didn't do 200.
Yeah, that's right. Okay. Doug was my 190, I think, a couple months ago.
Did you go willingly, or did you fight yourself on not going that direction?
I didn't fight myself because when the people that I interview or talk or research, and in my book, I got many examples. The more people tell me things that are woo. I mean, yeah, you get the Bigfoot. The most popular story that everyone's all heard is Bigfoot crossing the road, right? Now, of course, that's perhaps is just some creature, but then you get the one how it metamorphosized from a stump. I got a guy telling me a story that he was looking at he had a Bigfoot lined up. Not a Bigfoot, he had a deer lined up. Then all of a sudden something came out of the shadows. It was an alleged Bigfoot, picked up the deer, broke its neck. And he was with a friend who was filming the tree line. Now get this. He sees it through the rifle lens, binoculars, or the scope, and he sees this deer. Then he sees a Bigfoot come out, pick it up in the air, snap its neck, throw it on the ground for whatever the reason, which I don't understand, I will say, disappears in the tree line. Maybe he was spooked because he knew that he was lined up by the rifleman. So this friend was filming, though, because his buddy would always film their hunts. So they race back to look at the video. lo and behold, when they pull up the video doesn't show the Bigfoot at all. You know what it shows, though? A suspended deer thrown to the ground.
Interesting.
Isn't that interesting?
Wow.
I mean, that's something. I mean, that's.
Did he share the tape with you?
He didn't. And again, he did not. I didn't see it. He told me that story. And I'm this guy. Here's what I am, you guys. Sometimes I have a little problem with it. I never walked in anybody's shoes. The reason why I even started my channel is because what happened to me, you guys, no one helped me.
No,
I felt like no one believed in me, and I was made fun of. And I got to tell you, I pulled out of it. But then I said, you know what? I'm starting a channel, and I want people to tell me their stories because I don't want anyone to feel how I felt. I felt lost and alone for a very long time.
That's a good intention. I mean, that's really good.
That was my whole motive behind doing the channel and writing the book, right? Is because I just remember I don't want to be in that place. And if someone comes to me and tells me a story, no matter how far out it may sound, I'm going to listen. And if you want me to air it or you want to come on the show, I'll do that. Because on my show, we don't allow any trolls. I mean, boom, tell your story. And hey, we have an audience that's educated. They can make their opinion. And for me, when I first started talking about my encounter, for the very first time, I went on Sasquatch Chronicles with Wes Germer, and it was recorded. It was the very first time I told my story. You guys, I'm glad it wasn't a live show because I broke down and cried 7 or 8 times. It took for a 38-minute story. And he was cool about it. Took about 25 takes. It was probably 2 hours of me just pulling myself together because I couldn't get it out. But I got to tell you this. Once I finally got out the edited copy, once I finally listened to it back and heard it, I felt so much better.
It was like therapy.
Therapy, for me, expounding on these things for everybody's therapy. Sir, and for me, I want to give back to the people because it was taken from me in a sense that it's a mystery as to how Sandy passed. That's my biggest haunting. I'm not scared of Bigfoot. I'm not scared of what I saw. I'm not scared of ghosts, gremlins, Dogman. But I'm scared of the mystery of what happened. Why did this happen? So that's what powers me forward into doing this. And I love doing this. I love talking to people and hearing the stories. Now, of course, I'm not going to have somebody on my show that says Santa Claus came down the chimney, turned into a werewolf, and ate grandma. That's not getting aired, okay? I mean, I only go so far, but you guys get my point.
What is your book about, Rob?
It's True Bigfoot Michigan Rob Presents, True Cryptid Encounters. I started doing this. I started getting all these stories. When I started my channel, I put out my email. I said, if you have a True Cryptid Encounter story and you don't want it to be aired or made public, but would like to share it with me, do that. And then I had got a whole bunch of these stories coming in. And so I would start airing them in video format, and people seem to love them. And then I started getting back with some of these folks. I said, look, I'm thinking about writing a book. Would you mind if I put in a book? And most of the people I spoke with, not all, trust me, this took me 2 years to put together to get everybody to agree. I put in a book. I'm not going to name your name because everybody in the book wanted to remain anonymous. So I'm telling their stories through their eyes in anonymous fashion. So this book is about what I've gotten from people, and I've vetted some of the stories, not 100%. I trust me, guys. I've done my research on all the stories that I do put out. I'll look at the location, if they're making up states or anything. I do all that. I do put some time into that, but for the most part, I'll tell the story if I think it's credible, in my opinion, and it's only my opinion. Some people may say it's full of bunk, but I tell you what, it's doing pretty well. It's 5 stars on Amazon, and people seem to enjoy it. And it's just doing. I'm putting back to what was taken from me. Book 2 is coming out end of July, and then I'm doing a 3rd book on my personal experiences from the age of 5 through current day, which is probably going to be a novel.
Well, what's your favorite story, Rob, in your book? Is there one that kind of jumps out at you?
Yeah, there's one that jumps out at me because it's also in the state of Michigan. I'm going to give the Reader's Digest version of this because it's quite lengthy, but it's my favorite one. And I titled it Dogman Island. And I love it because it takes place 40 minutes from me. And it takes place in Groseal, Michigan.
Well, read it. Read an excerpt.
I can read it. Okay, I'll give my books right here. Hang on.
Oh, there. That didn't take long.
No, I got it handy in case people. But now I got to show my age and put on these right quick. I got to find it here. I just bought these at CVS. It's about 2 months ago. I realized that I need these to read.
Well, cut to the meat on the story, but it'd be great to hear a little bit of it.
Well, no, I'm not going to read. I'll tell you what, I'll summarize it really quick.
Summarize it then.
I'll just summarize it. So this couple, I get this email, and I've been in communication with these people. So they live on in Groseal, Michigan, and they bought this house. And now, if you live on Groseal, for the most part, on East River Road, where they live, you're a pretty well-off person. You got some money. He would divulge what he was because he didn't want people to make fun of him in his profession in fear of losing his business because of this. So they have a hill. They have a house on a hill on East River Road overlooking Groseal. On the island of Groseal, and it overlooks all this chain of islands. And on their home, they started hearing from within their home, you guys, they started hearing these howls, these weird howls. And there's no wolves or any creature or any predator really on the island of Groseal, at least not a wolf that they're aware of. And frankly, if you look up, the statistics are 0 on Groseal, but it sounded like wolves. Thought it was very odd, and it came from inside their house. They couldn't figure it out. So they're outside, they're at their beachfront, and they hear these same howls again coming from inside like the hill of their house. This is after they moved in, you guys, for several weeks. And they hear these same muffled howls. And again, it's all muffled, right? So they hear these muffled sounds, and they're traversing up their hill, and they can't figure this out. So they go in their house, and they still hear these muffled howls. And the owner of the home says, you know what? I think this is coming somewhere from the basement. Now they go down into the basement, and they hear nothing. They don't hear anything, but they think that, and everything stops. So a day or two later, they hear these howls again, and they know it's coming from the basement. So the man goes into the basement, and these are coming from a cellar. He had a wine cellar in his basement. Opens the cellar door, and he kind of hears these howls coming from like inside the wine cellar, but then it stops. Now, to preface this story, Groseal, Michigan, and all these homes, a lot of these elaborate homes that were built in the way back during Prohibition, Groseal bootlegged a lot of alcohol from the river to Canada, okay, during the Prohibition times. And a lot of them that set up elaborate tunnels, and a lot of them, what was happening is they would traverse across the river on boats, and they would get caught by certain authorities. So they came up, these engineers. So there was a lot of tunnels. And you can look this up. You can find this. There's a lot of tunnels in houses that were used for bootlegging. So so one day he was curious, and he goes in his wine cellar, and he took the end of a broomstick, and he's hitting, for whatever the reason, he's hitting either side. The left side of the wine cellar, it rings solid. The right side is solid. He goes to the far back wall, and it rings hollow. He goes, wow. And again, he's been hearing these sounds from inside the house and outside of his property, like in the hill. So his wife thinks he's crazy. He starts poking around this at the back wall in a hole. He gets through a hole, and it's hollow, and he starts taking down this back wall. He took down the rack of wine, and he starts opening the back of the wine cellar, and it opens up, and he sees like a tunnel. There's a tunnel literally in his basement at the end of this wine cellar. And again, this is not uncommon. They were not privy of this until they started doing some research, but it was common in Groseal. It still exists today, and all these tunnels now have been since closed down or
Yeah.
walled off.
It's creepy though.
Very creepy. So this guy, he's going through the tunnel. He gets in. He gets into the tunnel, and he says now he had to get kind of on his hands and knees. He's traversing through the tunnel. Then all of a sudden it expands where he can literally kind of stand up and start walking a little bit, And so with his wife behind him, mind you, because she was a very adventurous person too. And he's telling me back at this time, they're in their mid-20s during this time when they came across this. It was like in the early 80s. And so he's got his big flashlight, excuse me, and then he comes across and he says, Rob, there's these oversized dog-like prints. They were on all fours, and they were kind of scattered about. And he knew about hunting and tracking, and as a hunter, he knew about prints of animals, mammals. And he said they're very strange, they're odd and peculiar. So he went further, and the further he went out, the quadrupedal wolf-like oversized dog prints went bipedal. Then all of a sudden, he goes, this is very strange. They're like 6 inches long, 4 inches, 4.5 inches wide. But then all of a sudden, he realizes he now can't breathe. He's starting to pant a little bit, and it's getting very dank and musty. Now he realizes that he's traveled he now feels he's underneath the river in this tunnel because his ears start to pop. So he says, oh my gosh. And so he turns around, gets out of there. And so he's on top of his deck of his home one night, and he hears these howls, and he kind of looks. He looks out towards the chain of islands, which kind of lined up to the back of the hill of the house and where the tunnel is, and it leads to a chain of islands. He goes, I'm just wondering. And they started doing some research, and he found out about the bootlegging and all the tunnels that were made. And he was just wondering if maybe the source of the sounds is coming from the island. And maybe there was an open pathway. Certainly, he did not know this because he couldn't breathe, and he thinks he had made mention that the tunnel kind of got closed up again, which you would expect over years of just condensation and everything falling apart inside the tunnel. So he goes and takes his wife, and they had a 38-foot Sea Ray boat. He says, you know what? Maybe the source is coming from the island that's lined up from the home, which is out there. And to me, when I'm thinking about this, that'd be one hell of a long tunnel, but they said coincidence overtook them. So they go out to the closest island from their home that was lined up in relation to the tunnel and the house's hill. They get out. They cannot get on this island. Now, I know where this island is because I've researched it and I drove out there, you guys. It's 40 minutes from where I live. There's a whole bunch of islands out here. We can't get on it because it's rocky. The big boat he had, first of all, the hull of the ship was so deep that he had to get on a rubber raft to get onto this island. So he docks his big 37-foot Sea Ray boat. They take a rubber raft out to the island. They get on this island. Now, this island is overgrown with vegetation and growth. No one's been on it. There's an island called Sugar Island, maybe about 400 yards west of there, where everybody hangs out. A nice, beautiful sandy beach. But a lot of these islands in Michigan and along the Detroit River you're not allowed to go on. They're walled off, and there's yellow tape. There's everything. They're not for public use. It's been used for something. They get on the island. They start traversing through this. Get on this island. Start traversing about it. Gets onto the island, and then he cuts a pathway. Then he gets to an open trail, him and the wife. And they go down the trail, and now it opens up. And you know what? He sees on this island, which he found to be very strange, was a skull of a deer. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, island out in the middle of an island, out onto the Detroit River, which leads out to Lake Erie. I don't know, and I guess I found out later that deer can swim, but I'm still trying to think. He just thought there should be no deer skull on here. He goes further on to this island, and he sees a set of these tracks. He says the same tracks that he saw in the tunnel at the cellar of his home. oversized wolf prints. Him and his wife, they say, oh, wow, maybe this is the source, maybe not. We don't know. They turn around, they go back home. He gets with his buddy and they say, hey, man, let's go investigate this island about my wife. I think there's something strange about this. They get out to this island about dusky dawn. And he says, you get in there, long story short, again, a long story, you guys, gets back on this island. Again, goes in the area where we found these tracks from with his wife earlier the previous couple days. He sees a set of glowing eyes from the ground. It looked like a wolf on four legs standing there. Sees like glowing eyes in from the tree-lined part of the trees that are surrounding this open area. Gets closer and closer, and all of a sudden, this four-legged wolf-like creature, he said it had the head of a wolf, it had long pointed ears, but these glowing eyes, and starts walking towards them. Then it stops. And then it stood up on two legs. Walked out. The sun is kind of casting down where they see this huge wolf person standing. Says the creepiest thing about this is it says telepathically to this guy, turn around, don't come back. Turn around, don't come back. They got out of there. They went back, got home. That night, in the evening, he hears the howls of wolves surrounding his property. Now, this man is beside himself. He said, what did he just bring upon himself? So he goes to the neighbor, and now these houses are they're spread out quite a distance away from each other. Goes to the neighbors on either side throughout the week and asks them, hey, listen, you guys are hearing these wolf sounds? They look at him like what are you talking about, wolves? We don't hear no sounds. Went to another neighbor. No, what are you, nuts? There's no wolves on this island. There's no wolves out there on the adjoining islands that are like way out there. They looked at him like he was odd. Now you got to remember, this is an upstanding man, had a business. Whether he's a doctor or a lawyer, never specified to me. Didn't give me his real name, right? And he goes, why are these people... why am I the only person hearing this? Why do I have this in my cellar? Why did I see this on this island in the distance? So he wondered as to why he was like haunted with this. Is it because are the people ignoring him and wanted him to go away? Or was it something that followed him throughout his lifetime, he wondered. That's like the gist of this. I gave you the Reader's Digest story. It's about 5 pages of the book. It's more detailed than that. But that's kind of the gist of it. And I've talked to this guy's like in his 80s now, you guys. And I gotta tell you, and I talked to him on the phone, and I must say, I believe his story. I don't think he's making it up. I don't think he wants fame or fortune. Most people that come on the show or in the book weren't paid a dime. They just want to be left in anonymity.
So
and he happened on my channel and said, Rob, here's my story.
Was the sound emanating through the tunnel? The howling? Is that?
It came from, he heard it from the cellar in the basement.
The cellar?
Yes.
Which was connected to the tunnel.
To the tunnel, yes. Yeah.
Wow.
I don't think I could not live in a house that
well, there's a part 2 to this. Hey, listen, man, I have to do the whole story on another show, but I got to tell you, it's a great story. And no, he and the wife, they packed up, they moved, but they still stayed on the island. He said he moved 2 miles down river, and they made another trip back to the island years later with a hunter and came across something else, which I'm not going to get into that. Very intriguing. If you guys buy the book, it's in the book, but it's also on my YouTube page. Dogman Island Part 1 and Part 2 is on my I made a video of it. It's on my YouTube channel. So, but yeah, it's fascinating. It's very popular. A lot of people watched it, and I gotta tell you, it gives me goosebumps. I make a point. I don't listen to all my shows other than maybe how I can improve, but I listen to that story probably every couple months because it just gets me. It just gets me.
Yeah, it's a good story. Joining our membership.
Yeah, text my buddy. I met Tex.
We
Tex helped me
appreciate it.
through. Tex helped me through my my counter, and he got me started in the podcast
Oh,
business.
he's
I love
he's
Tex.
awesome. Yeah, he's awesome.
He's a great guy.
I'm trying to imagine all of the creepiness that would go with that home. And I have dreams once in a while of living in some big old home, and I keep finding like tunnels and
Yeah.
new passageways to places. And I've had this dream for years and years and years, and they're just so icky. They're icky and they're cool. I don't know how to explain it, but
They're very cool stories. And, and again, when you hear somebody tell you a story like that, you don't know. You want to feel like, oh my gosh, feel bad for the person, but it's exciting in a way. And I think it's exciting. I'll just leave it at that.
So are you creeped out by a Dogman stuff? I mean, does it creep you out? Do you think they're...
What about rakes, crawlers?
Yeah, well, I guess so. I tell you what, I tell the
What's your
blonde-
nightmare fuel?
Yeah, what's your nightmare fuel?
My nightmare is being attacked by a ghost or a demon. You know what? I tell you what.
Okay.
My girls, the Blondes and the Booze, they got podcasts, Chris and Brandy, and they do a great job. And I met them a couple of years ago, and they're in the paranormal field. I tell you what scares me. I could not sit through to this day and watch The Exorcist. I could not watch The Exorcist.
Yeah.
Because I believe in God, therefore I do believe in the devil, and I do believe that I do believe people get possessed by the devil. I do. And I try to refrain from watching those shows because I know that evil lurks and evil can get you in many different ways, whether you know it or not. That's what scares me. Dogman don't scare me, even though Dogman can be classified as the devil's dog, right? We've heard the devil dog before and all that stuff. The things with the demonic and the devil, creeps me out. I don't like to. Do I watch it and look at it and read into it? Yes, because part of my job on YouTube, right? But I gotta tell you, that scares me the most is the things that I know for sure. I don't want to be possessed, you guys. I don't want to have any attachments.
Well, God, I hope you don't get possessed, Rob.
Yeah, well, people.
If he ever shows up on his podcast and his eyes are black, just
eyes are black or they're red. We got to call the good Dr. Malachi Martin. You know who he is? You look him up.
I know he is.
I've listened to all his tapes.
I used to hear him on Coast to Coast AM.
Yeah, I did too. That's right. Now, for a guy that's not into that, I listened to I think Art Bell did 20 episodes with the guy.
Yeah,
and they're fascinating. And
he's a brilliant guy.
Yeah, he really is. And so I believe I tell you what, I don't believe Bigfoot exists. I'm a knower. I know they exist. So, because I've seen it with my eyes, I know ghosts exist and all these things. I've seen those as well. But the forces of the devil, Satan, if you will, that scares the heck out of me, and that's something I don't want to tangle with. That scares me. My sleep paralysis, that scared me.
Yeah.
Do you think Bigfoot could be a demon?
I think it could be. Now, I don't think it is, but a lot of people believe that. A lot of people believe that he's an alien.
Or some fallen angel.
Fallen angel, part of the Nephilim, right?
Nephilim, yeah.
I don't know about all that. Again, I'm not going to condemn anybody's thought process because I don't know. We don't really know, do we?
We don't know anything, Rob. We know nothing.
My Cindy passed away. She knows more than I do because she probably has the answers, right?
You think we'll ever get a body?
No, I don't think so. I think they probably bury their dead. I think, and again, hey, if they're paranormal, supernatural, they whisk them away.
Tomorrow, Alex, it'll be Murphy will get them. Be on the headlines. Bigfoot body found.
Well, yeah. What's
Rob was wrong.
Yeah, Rob's. Hey, if I'm wrong, I'll gladly admit it. I will. Hey, I'll be the first one to say I said on Doug's show, Alex's show. Yeah, they're not gonna find a body, and tomorrow they pull up one. It
was just funny because there was a statement made. I'm not going to mention who, but it was a squid expert who had made a statement to, I believe, publicly into our squid video of this giant squid we filmed. He goes, "There's no such thing as a Architeuthis ducks in the Sea of Cortez." And then the next day, one washed up on the beach dead. And yeah. So you got to be careful what you say won't and can't.
Yeah, I don't believe in the words no or fact, because you never know. You remember that story? Art Bell, he had the guy that allegedly killed 3 Bigfoot and buried them. He gave Art Bell the map.
Sure. Oh yeah.
Very popular. This is another good one, and I don't know what happened with that. If they ever found the body, or if Art even went back there, I don't think he.
It was an emotional story the guy would tell.
Yeah, my lord, it was so emotional, emotional.
I
think his name was
the truth.
What was his name?
Riggs. Well, I'm thinking Riggs or something. I don't know.
It wasn't Riggs.
It wasn't Riggs. I don't know. Riggs. That's the first thing that popped in my head.
Is that Lethal Weapon?
Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah, that's Lethal Weapon. It is. Mel Gibson, right? Yep.
Yeah. Do you think he was telling the truth? Like, whatever happened to the map?
Hey man, I can't call people liars because people could call me one, But
did they ever do anything with the map? Or did it disappear?
I listened to that story about a couple of years ago, and I didn't follow that up, but I don't know what happened there.
Have you ever had a nightmare of your encounter, actual dream or nightmare?
The funny thing is, no, I never have. Not once.
Not once. Okay.
Although
we do forget a lot of our dreams and nightmares.
I have recurring dreams of being lost. I'm always lost somewhere and I can't get out. And I hear people say, "Rob, this is the way out. This is the way out." And then I don't get out. And then I freak out. Then I wake myself up. Those are pretty scary for me.
Do you ever have dreams, Alex, like that, reoccurring? I've never asked you.
I can never remember my dreams.
So you just don't have any nightmares or constant dreams, Alex? Nothing.
If I do, I forget them immediately.
It's so nice, Rob, having a very kind of vanilla son.
Yeah. I'm so surprised, Doug, with what you got going on, your career.
He came out of a different rabbit hole.
Yeah, for sure, right?
But he's doing this podcast. So
he is. No, he does a good job. I watch your show, so.
Yeah, we love you. But yeah, he just hasn't. Every time I ask him one of these questions, it's always negative.
Yeah.
Everything's just normal.
It's kind of boring, man.
And his brother's the opposite. So
yeah. He helps balance it out.
I think I might have dropped Alex once too many or something in his bassinet. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, it's a cool thing with the team I work with. We all have our different opinions and ideas, and we discuss them. And some people agree with certain things, some don't. But the great thing about it is you brainstorm and you come up with a lot of great ideas and thoughts, especially in this field that we're all involved with,
Yeah. Yeah. Old Ristol said there's still hope for you, Alex.
Yeah, I'd like to believe that.
Yeah. We love Alex, even his donut addiction.
Because I was fed formula as a baby.
That could have been. Could have been the formula that got you vaccinated against all these ghosts and monsters and
UFOs. Oh yeah, there you go.
But I would imagine you've had UFO experiences, pretty much everything.
Yeah, I have. I saw my first UFO was kind of funny because I was in my bedroom. I was probably, I don't know, maybe second, third grade or something. And my mom always got up, made us our breakfast. And I knew, and she called us out of our bedroom, me and my brother. And I knew, we all know as kids growing up, we hated getting up to go to school, right? And I knew that my mom was calling us up at least 15 minutes early. So, Ma, we got 15 minutes. Get out of bed. I got to show you. Come down here. So me and my brother jump out of bed and we run down the hallway. And my mom is at the bay window in the kitchen. She goes, look out the window, you guys. What is that? What do you see? Sure enough, there was a flying saucer. I'm going back to the 70s and use the term flying saucer, but it's what it looked like. It looked like the Lost in Space flying saucer. It did,
Yeah.
And we seen this thing hovering in the backyard. It was maybe 100 yards up in the air. I mean, it's relatively sizable. Maybe if I have to guess today, we had a 20-foot round swimming pool in the pool, and it was a little bit bigger than that, right? So yeah, and then this thing was just kind of hovering. Then all of a sudden, you guys, it darted straight up, boom, gone. And I asked my mom, and she said she was staring out the window at it for at least several minutes, and then she decided to get me and my brother in there to check it out. So what my mom does, you guys, she calls my dad. Now you got to remember, he worked at Chrysler, and there's obviously no cell phones, and you don't call your husband back in the day, right? Things have so much changed today, but back in the day, you never call your husband and pull him off the factory line at work, right? He gets on the phone. His boss says, Karnafel, get in here. Your wife's got something. So he figures what's wrong with the kids because you're only supposed to call an emergency. No. I just saw a UFO, Bob, my dad's name. He goes, you pulled me off of this. You're not supposed to do that. I guess my dad hung up on her or whatever, went back to work. So he gets home from work about 5 o'clock in the afternoon. 5 o'clock news happens to come on. And a breaking story, you guys, on the news, UFO in such and such city of Michigan, which was my city. I guess the news got hundreds and hundreds of calls into the newscast, and they broadcast all these phone calls. And of course, they made fun of it. It was a joking thing. Yeah, UFO in the city here in Michigan. But then they posed the question. Oh, so many people called in with this. And I was a kid, you guys, I don't know what the explanation was. So my dad, I remember my dad kind of curled up to my mom. I'm sorry, honey, for doubting you, But yeah, so that was.
So when it made the news, then he believed her. Yeah.
And pretty much. Yeah, it made the news. But then the news. But you know how the news back in the day made fun of it, really, even though you guys, 200-300 people called in to all the newscasts across, where I lived, right? So, but yeah, and so our whole neighborhood saw it. That happened to be up, and about that day. So that was my only UFO sighting.
That's cool.
And I took pictures of some of those cigar-shaped ones. Don't know if they were UFOs or not, but they were very strange objects in the sky. But that for sure, what I saw with my own two eyes was definitely. It looked like if you took a coffee flying saucer. Yeah, right.
That name is more creepy than UFO, flying saucer. I remember hearing that when I was just little, like 5 years old. And I'm like, God, I was paranoid. I'm looking out every window, and because they'd have flying saucer landed in New Mexico or something in the news.
Yeah.
And us little kids would hear the adults talking about it.
Yep, the flying
saucer. And it would
saucer.
scare the living bejesus out of us, Alex. Flying saucer.
Oh, really quick, text just said bugs. That was a story of bugs on the Art Bell show. Yeah, the guy. That was
bugs. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Text, you need to put it in context. You just can't say bugs.
Yeah.
Rob knows.
Yeah, Rob knew. I saw that. I saw his thing where he said bugs.
Yeah.
But I just thought he was talking. That's what he dreamed about.
Bugs.
And by the way, Travis, are you new? Are you new in chat? If you are, you got to come back because I like all the cool comments.
Oh yeah, well, this is always a cool show though.
We try to have fun with some guests.
Not all of them.
No, not all.
Just the bad boys.
Well, I'm glad I contributed some levity and humor into the show because you know what, as serious as some people take this, you gotta have a sense of humor, man.
Yeah,
especially with what goes on in this field.
No, it's true, and we don't get into politics or bashing anybody. We just don't because why? And for what reason?
No
Why would we?
reason.
I'm open-minded. I don't,
Yeah,
everybody
and
everybody needs a voice.
well, Tex always says Rob believes everything. Well, I kind of do, to a point. But you have to. I have an open minded. Again, it just always falls back to what happened to me. I was lost. I was alone, nowhere to go. So I have compassion, empathy for the people. So that's the way I operate my show.
Yeah.
And
Well,
everything.
we're all shaped by
Yep.
what we've seen, what we've experienced, and by loneliness, and by happiness, and sadness, and tragedy, and
Yep. Absolutely.
None of us are. Oh, there's Eli Watson. Hi, Eli. How are you? Eli's been over to the house here.
Okay, I
Cool,
had his Alec on before from
Eli works for oh my God, Small Town Monsters. Yeah.
I did Alec on. We did his when he dropped that awesome video of the Alaskan Sasquatch out there in not Portlock, but out in that area. I forget the name of the video.
You're talking about Petikoff?
Petikoff, yeah, he's been on before. Yeah, he's a great guy. I met him. Well, I met
Alex
him.
is so nice. He's a super nice guy.
Yeah,
he's got this calm demeanor.
Yeah, and he does great film work. I love his.
Yeah.
I just love that. I love anything Alaskan. It don't even have to be Bigfoot related. Just Alaska is beautiful.
So we just hit 10,000 subscribers last weekend, Alex.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, sweet.
And we're quite a bit over that. We'll be at 11,000 here, not terribly long. But we really want to thank everybody for getting us there. If you like any of our shows, please subscribe. Please share the show, because we do have 12 shows. We've got some new ones coming. Some series wrap up. Some new ones come in. We've got Unknown Sounds coming. We've got a show called, this is the first time I'm going to announce it, Monster Soup is coming. That will be more of a fun show.
Yeah, it sounds like it'll be fun.
It will be fun, and it's with a really cool guy who's definitely fun. And the reason it's fun, because he even told me, I laugh at everything I say to everything he says to himself, he laughs at. He's a great guy, and it'll be a fun show, and that's coming up, but also very informative.
Yeah.
So that's coming up. When is that coming in, Alex? Is that July? Monster Soup?
I think it's August 8th.
August. Okay, August 8th, that starts. So Monster Soup's coming up. Unknown Sounds is coming up. Mapping Bigfoot's coming up yet. Is there anything I'm missing, Alex?
Mapping Bigfoot, June 8th. Monster Soup, August 9th.
Yep. Those are the two
shows.
Awesome.
I swear to God, there's another one I'm not thinking about. Oh, we just added Cab, Calling All Beans.
Yes. That just
and so that's a brand new show with a lot of fun. That show's cool.
And if you haven't seen it, watch it. It's tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow.
Thursday, 7 p.m. Central.
Calling All Beans or Cab. Yep.
Very good.
That's with DJ and Nathan and Courtney and Deb. So it's hosted by, is that 4 people? Yeah, 4 people. Yeah. So anyhow, well, thank you, Rob, so much. Go to check out Rob's channel. He's an amazing storyteller. I love your voice, Rob. When you read a story, you're really good at it.
Thank you.
Really good.
High praise. High praise. Thank you for that.
Yeah. No. We love you, man. And I got to get out. I'm coming. God, I'm going to be so close to you here this weekend. I'll be in, well, it's actually close, but far. What would I have to do? Go over the Mackinac Bridge?
Yeah, we're out there in Minnesota, eh?
Yeah, we're in Minnesota.
Yeah.
But we'll be in Winnett, Wisconsin at it's the Paranormal. What's the name of this show? I can't think of it. The conference, Alex. Can you pull it up? Because you can buy virtual tickets for this.
Oh, wow.
It's only like $5.
Oh, wow.
So it's not much.
Hey, which reminds me really quick, quick plug. Next weekend on June 7th and 8th, I'll be at the Alabama Bigfoot Conference with myself, Tex, Jason McLean. You familiar with Jason?
No, yeah, I love Jason. Yeah.
Greg Ogles, Barton Ellie are speakers, the Blondes and the Booze.
Who puts that on, Rob?
Martin Groves. Well, a lady by the name of Anita Collier. And,
yeah. I donated some stuff to her. She's such a great lady. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is second year, I believe.
I think maybe the third. It's my second one. I missed last year.
I think it's only second, but it could be third.
I don't know. This will be my second one. But anyway, 2 or 3, yes. And so we're all speakers over there. We're helping. Tex is the MC, and again, I'm speaking to Blondes and Booze, Martin Groves, Greg Olds, Jason McLean. I can't remember them all. They're all so good. I'm sorry who I forgot. About 8 of us. So yeah, it'd be a lot of fun. So we're doing a meet and greet June 7th, and the conference is all day long June 8th.
Oh, cool. Yeah, cool. Yeah, and we'll be at the Marionette Menominee Bigfoot Paranormal Convention, and I'll be speaking there. So I'm looking forward to that. And Alex and Blaine will be there joining me. So,
awesome.
Yeah,
a lot of fun.
Well, we will have a booth. So anybody in the area, stop by and say hello. And with that, we're going to say good night. We love y'all.
Good night.
Thank you, everybody in chat. Thank you, Lori, for moderating tonight. And we will see y'all next Wednesday.
Awesome.
See ya,
Thanks,
Hey,
Doug.
Rob. Thank
I
you.
appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks again.
All right.
I call you up in the middle of the night, been bothered by dreams, ain't feeling alright. You give me comfort, say just give it some time. By the end of our talk, I'm feeling